This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 1 of our series, Conquering Jet Lag. In today's episode, titled Understanding Jet Lag and Its Effects on the Body, we'll explore the symptoms of jet lag and how they can affect your travels. So, whether you're a frequent flyer or planning your next getaway, let's dive in and get you set for smoother journeys ahead. A flight can steal more from you than sleep. It can quietly short-circuit your brain's sense of time. You land at sunrise, but your body swears it's midnight. You're wired, exhausted, hungry, and nauseous all at once. So what actually just happened inside your body? Your body isn't following the airport clock. It's following a network of tiny clocks embedded in almost every cell you have. Your brain's master clock in the suprachiasmatic nucleus takes its cues from light, but clocks in your liver, gut, muscles, and even your immune system also keep their own schedules, tuned by food timing, activity, and hormones. On a long-haul flight, you don't just move across the map. You abruptly reshuffle the signals these clocks depend on. Bright cabin lights at midnight home time, meals served at odd hours, long periods of sitting, and fragmented sleep. When you land, local time demands one pattern, while your internal clocks are still running another, and each system adjusts at its own pace. That mismatch is jet lag. Not just feeling tired, but a full-body negotiation over whose time it really is. Jet lag hits hardest when those clocks are forced to jump too far, too fast. Crossing just one time zone? Your system can usually smooth that out. But once you hit two or more, the gap becomes big enough that your body starts missing its usual cues. Research shows symptoms are often worst with 6 to 9 hours of difference, exactly the kind of leap you make on intercontinental flights. And because the human clock naturally runs a bit longer than 24 hours, it usually copes better with stretching the day, flying west, than with suddenly cutting hours out of it, flying east. When those internal clocks fall out of step, the disruption isn't abstract. It shows up in very specific systems. Start with hormones. Melatonin normally rises in the evening, back home, nudging you towards sleep, and cortisol peaks near your usual wake time, nudging you into alertness. After a long-haul flight, those peaks can drift hours away from the new day-night cycle. You might feel wide awake when the hotel room is dark, then groggy and unfocused in a morning meeting because your cortisol peak is still anchored to your departure time. Your metabolism also runs on a schedule. Enzymes in your liver and gut that handle glucose and fats ramp up and down across the day. When local breakfast lands at what your body considers the middle of the night, your system can respond sluggishly. Higher post-meal glucose, more pronounced energy crashes, and more intense cravings for fast calories. That's part of why carb-heavy airport food can feel great for an hour, then leave you drained and irritable. Cognitive performance follows this temporal pattern too. Studies on athletes, shift workers, and traveling professionals show that reaction time, decision-making, and accuracy all dip when the brain is operating at a biological night despite local daylight. The baseball data are a neat real-world example. That small average drop in runs when teams travel eastward reflects not just fatigue, but mistimed internal rhythms affecting split-second judgments. Mood tends to wobble as well. Misaligned clocks alter the timing and amplitude of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. People often report feeling uncharacteristically flat, anxious, or emotionally volatile for a couple of days after big time jumps, especially on eastbound trips where sleep is shorter and lighter. Even your immune system keeps office hours. Certain immune cells patrol more actively at specific times. When sleep is broken and circadian signals are scrambled, inflammatory markers rise, and defense responses can weaken temporarily, which may help explain why frequent long-haul travelers often describe a pattern of always catching something after major trips. Your challenge this week: before your next long flight, or even a late-night event, note your usual high focus and energy crash times for 3 days. After the disruption, track when those peaks and dips actually show up. You'll start to see your internal schedule and how far it can drift, almost like tracing a personal time zone map. Think about how differently jet lag can play out depending on the trip. A red-eye from New York to London might leave a journalist wide awake at 2 a.m., tapping out emails, then crashing mentally halfway through a mid-morning briefing. Meanwhile, a nurse flying from LA to Tokyo may feel fine the first day, only to feel strangely irritable, bloated, and unfocused 2 days later when her gut and metabolism lag behind her sleep schedule. Athletes often see it on the scoreboard. A swimmer arriving just 1 day before a major meet may hit all their splits in warm-up, then feel half a step slow in the actual race because their biological night overlaps with competition time. One way to picture it, like landing in a foreign city where every neighborhood wakes, eats, and works at different hours. Your brain, gut, and muscles are temporarily living in separate districts, each following its own local time until they slowly adopt the same daily rhythm again. Chronic misalignment from frequent long-haul trips doesn't just feel lousy, it may quietly nudge long-term risk for metabolic issues, low mood, and burnout. As travel, remote work, and global teams blur borders, recovery planning could become as normal as booking a hotel. Think of companies reserving post-flight, low-stakes days for strategy, while timing creative work for when your shifted alertness naturally peaks, like surfing the right part of a wave instead of fighting it. So instead of treating jet lag as a travel tax you just pay, you can start treating it like terrain you learn to navigate. Notice how your mood, appetite, and focus shift from trip to trip. They're like signposts on a hiking trail, hinting at when to push, when to rest, and when to plan buffer days so your future journeys feel less like recovery missions. Here's your challenge this week. Pick one upcoming or imaginary 6+ hour trip crossing at least 3 time zones and design a jet lag game plan for it today. Set exact sleep and wake times for the 3 days before departure, schedule when you would shift your light exposure, morning versus evening, and choose precise meal and caffeine times that match your destination time zone. Then, for the next 2 days, actually follow this plan as if you were traveling. Change your bedtime, wake time, meal timing, and outdoor light exposure accordingly, and note how your energy, mood, and sleep feel each day. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!